Margaret Lewin and welcome to Margaret Lewin Quilting. Today we are starting our Sarah Star quilt along. Sarah Star is a quilt that I have designed and I've also put together fabric kits. So if you're interested in a kit, I'll leave a link below so that you can go and get yours and join us while we put this all together. The very first block that we're going to be working on is this one. It's called the LeMoyne Star. The best part about this block is we don't have to deal with any Y seams on it. It's all straight piecing. So I think you're really going to enjoy the ease of putting it together. Next month we're going to work on this single little border around it because these two in conjunction are really the foundation for the entire quilt. The nice thing about this quilt is it's square. So what we're going to be doing every month is just building another row around it. So if you decide you want to stop here with the flying geese, you can. But I got to be honest with you, you're not going to want to stop till the whole thing's done. It is just the funnest quilt to put together. And I think you're going to not only enjoy that process, and also you're going to enjoy learning different techniques as we go along. So I'm very, very excited about this. If you would like to see how I put the LeMoyne Star together, stay tuned and I'll show you how I did it. We're going to start working on our very first block, and what you need to cut, let me see if I can get you better into the frame. There we go. What we need to cut is we need to cut 4 4¼ squares of the background fabric, which is fabric number 4. We need to cut 4 rectangles that are 3 3/4 by 7½ and it's fabric number 1. We have to cut 4 of the background fabric, which again is fabric number 4, that are 3 3/4 by 7½. Then fabric number 2, we need to cut 4 pieces that are 3 3/4 inch square. We need 4 pieces of the background that are 3 3/4 inches square. And then we need 4 of fabric number 1, which is the darker purple, that are 4 1/4 inches square. So those are all the fabrics that we need. The next thing that we need to do is we need to take our 3 3/4 inch squares and we need to draw a line diagonally. Now on fabric number 1, we're going to draw a diagonal line on the background fabric, okay? And your diagonal line is going to go from the upper left-hand corner to the lower right-hand corner. That's important because that's going to give you the correct angle of your center block star. You're going to do that on all 4 pieces. Then on the fabric number 2, which is the lighter of the purple, you're going to draw a diagonal line from the upper right-hand corner to the lower left corner on fabric number 2. That will give you the opposite angle for our star. Now when you sew these, you're going to sew them right on the line. I've used my friction pen, this one, to draw my lines so that it will come out when I go to press it. So the first thing I'm going to do is sew all of these on this line. Then I'm going to come back and show you the very next step. So you can see, I hope, that I have stitched right on the line. So the next thing I'm going to do is set my seams, and then I'm going to cut 1/4 inch away from that sewn line. So here is my block. So I'm going to cut over here. Now on the other piece, you can see right here is my block. So I'm going to cut over here. So I'm going to set all 4 seams. I'm going to trim them. And then so that they lay flatter, I am going to be pressing my seams open. And I'll come back and show you what that looks like once it's done. I'm going to flip my pieces around in this direction because now that's how I need to work with them. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to piece, whoops, I need this one actually this way. we need to do what is the big square on the corners. So I'm going to take my fabric number 1. This is my background fabric in fabric number 2. And I'm going to place my rectangle right here on this line, right next to, right on the edge, all right? And I'm going to pin it in place. After I've pinned it in place, I'm going to stitch. And I'm going to start right here, and I'm going to stitch all the way down to here and then stop. I will back stitch too when I get to here, right? Now on these, we're just going to do it a little bit different. We're going to take our background fabric, we're going to set it right up here at the corner, line it up, and we're going to pin that. And on this one, we're going to stitch from here down to here. I'm going to do that to all 8 of my pieces, and then I'll be back to show you what we do. That does look a little bit confusing and like it's not going to be okay, but it will be. So I'll be right back to show you. I have sewn all of my pieces. I'm going to lay them all open like this so that you can see them. They look really weird, don't they? I have to agree. They look a little strange, to say the least. So here's all of these 4. And now here's our other 4. I'm going to get these all laid out. The next thing that I am going to do is I'm going to take these over to the pressing table. And I need to set my seams first, and then I need to press them. In this instance, you don't necessarily have to press your seams open, but I want to stay consistent in my block, so I will be pressing my seam open. And I'll come back and show you what it looks like once I have accomplished that. I've brought my blocks over to my pressing table, and the first thing I'm going to do is set my seam. Once I've set my seam, I'm going to grab my strip stick, and I am going to start by taking it from the center and just pushing it down. Just open it up a little bit. Now I'm just going to press across it. All right, and there is my first piece. I'm going to keep doing that to all 8 of my pieces, and then the magic is going to happen, and you're going to see how easy this block is to make and how beautiful it looks. And the best part is you've been working with squares and rectangles instead of having to deal with the Y seams. So here we go. I'm almost done with this set. I'll do my second set, and then I'll meet you back over at my sewing table. I have got 4 of each one of them. I'm going to grab the top 2, and they look really weird, but I promise you they're going to come out really cool. So I'm going to set these 2 aside. I'm going to grab my friction pen, so I've got that. Now you've got these 2 blocks. We need to be able to now make this into one block. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold these right sides together. I'm going to match up my seams right here, all right? And I'm going to stick a little pin in that right there, just because I want to keep them together right there. The next thing I'm going to do is match up these seams up at the top, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put a pin in there. All right. So now I'm going to lay these down, straighten them up together. So I'm going to take my Creative Grids ruler. One of the things that I love about their rulers is they have this 1/4 inch mark right here on their square ones. And this is textured on the back side so that it really grips. I'm going to place my ruler from one corner to the next. So from this corner to this corner, I'm gonna get it right on the corner, and I'm gonna draw a line. I do have a little bit of a fold over there. So I'm gonna draw my line. And then I'm gonna put a couple more pins in it. I'm just gonna stick one here, and then I'll stick a couple more down here. I'm gonna sew right on that drawn line. I'm gonna do that on all of mine, and then I'll be back again. This is what our pieces look like. Here's my sewn line. So the next thing I'm gonna do is take this over to the cutting table. I'm gonna lay my ruler down that 1/4 inch mark right on my sewn line, and I'm gonna trim these. Then once I trim these, I'm gonna take them over to the pressing table, and I'm going to press them, and there is my block. So isn't that just so cool? I'll be back to show you all of my blocks done. Here are all of my blocks. And I just want you to, I'm gonna set them out so that you can see. I just think this is amazing. I just think it is just beautiful and fantastic that you can put something together this easily. So now I will sew these 2 together, then I'll sew all 4 together, and then our very first block will be done. I'm really excited about showing this to you guys and getting it put together. I just think it's fantastic. So I'll be back when it's all put together, and then I'll show you the back too. Here is my block completely done. I am very pleased with the way it came out. I'm going to flip it over and show you the back. Here's the back. You can see I have pressed all my seams open. I did use a little bit shorter of a stitch length, so my stitch length is about 1.8 on this project so that I could press my seams open. This block at this stage should be 14.5 inches, and mine is. Next month, we're going to be attaching a border to this. And when we attach the border, I'm going to show you how you can go about making adjustments so that your block measures exactly what it needs to be. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end while we put together our LeMoyne star. Don't forget, next month, we're going to start working on this little border that surrounds it. These 2 blocks in conjunction are really the foundation for the entire quilt. So I can't wait to show you how we put together this little border. Then after that, we're going to put together these really cute little 4 patches. If you would like the pattern to this, please pop on over to either my website or my Facebook group, and the pattern for Sarah's Star will be available there. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next month for our very first border.